The night was calm until the torpedoes came. I was lying in my rack on the USS Indianapolis, trying to catch some sleep despite the oppressive heat of the Philippine Sea. It was July 29, 1945, just past midnight, and we were making good time toward Leyte Gulf. The war felt like it might be winding down. We'd just completed the most secret mission any of us had ever been part of, delivering components for something called the Little Boy to Tinian Island. None of us knew exactly what it was, but the brass treated those crates like they contained the Holy Grail itself. My name is Edgar Harrell, Marine Corporal assigned to the Indianapolis as part of her security detachment. At 19, I thought he'd seen everything the Pacific Theater could throw at us. Pearl Harbor, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, we'd been through it all aboard this grand old lady. The Indianapolis was a Portland-class heavy cruiser, 610 feet of American steel, that had carried Admiral Raymond Spruance's flag through some of the bloodiest battles in the Pacific. She was our home, our fortress, our lifeline in an ocean-turned battlefield. But that night, as I lay sweating in the muggy air below decks, I had no idea that in less than an hour she would become our tomb. The first explosion threw me clear out of my bunk. I hit the deck hard, my ears ringing from a sound like the world splitting in half. The ship lurched violently to starboard, and I could hear the terrible groaning of metal under stress. Emergency klaxons began wailing, but their sounds seemed distant and distorted. In the red glow of the battle lights that had automatically kicked in, I could see other Marines scrambling to their feet, confusion and fear etched on their faces. "What the hell was that?" shouted Corporal Mike Carilla, my bunkmate from Chicago. Before anyone could answer, the second torpedo hit. This one struck further aft, and the entire ship seemed to convulse like a wounded animal. The lights went out completely, plunging us into absolute darkness. In that black void, filled with the sounds of rushing water and screaming metal, I felt the first cold fingers of real terror. "Torpedoes!" someone yelled. "We've been torpedoed." The realization hit us like a physical blow. Japanese submarine. We were under attack in the middle of the night, hundreds of miles from the nearest friendly ship. And from the way Indianapolis was already listing to starboard, I knew we were in serious trouble. I fumbled for my life jacket in the darkness, muscle memory from countless drills guiding my hands. Around me, other Marines were doing the same, bumping into each other in the cramped compartment as the deck tilted at an increasingly steep angle. "Everybody topside," bellowed Sergeant Jack Miner, our squad leader. "Move it, Marines!" We scrambled through the narrow passages, fighting against the ship's list and the press of sailors doing the same thing. The Indianapolis was dying beneath our feet. I could feel it in the way she moved, sluggish and heavy, settling deeper into the water with each passing moment. As we reached the main deck, the full scope of the disaster became clear. The forward part of the ship was a twisted wreck, the bow completely blown away by that first torpedo. Fires raged amidships, casting an eerie orange glow across the water. The ship was listing so severely to starboard that the port rail was already 20 feet above the waterline. Men were everywhere, some organized, following emergency procedures, others running in panic. I could see Captain Charles McVay on the bridge, shouting orders that were barely audible over the din. The captain had been asleep when the attack occurred, and now he was trying to save his ship and crew in pajamas and a life jacket. Abandon ship. The order came down from the bridge, though by then it was obvious to everyone that Indianapolis was going down. The question wasn't whether she would sink, but how long we had to get clear. The scene on deck was chaos. Men were cutting loose life rafts, lowering boats where they could, and some were already jumping into the sea. The water looked black as oil in the moonlight, and I couldn't suppress a shudder as I thought about what might be lurking beneath the surface. "Harrell, over here." Corporal Carilla was waving me toward a life raft that several Marines were trying to launch. I ran toward them, slipping on the tilted deck that was now slick with fuel oil leaking from ruptured tanks. As I reached the raft, the ship gave another tremendous shudder and rolled further to starboard. Men who had been standing began sliding toward the rail, and I heard the terrifying sound of someone screaming as he went over the side. "She's going fast," shouted Carilla. "We need to get this raft in the water now." But even as we worked frantically to free the raft, I could see it was too late. The Indianapolis was rolling over, her massive hull rising out of the water like the back of some prehistoric whale. Men were jumping from every part of the ship now, some from heights of 30 or 40 feet as the list increased. "Jump!" yelled Sergeant Minor. "Jump clear of the ship." I looked down at the water, now much closer than it had been just minutes before. The sea was covered with a thick layer of fuel oil that had leaked from the Indianapolis's ruptured bunkers. Men were already in the water, some swimming, others clinging to debris, all of them coated in the black slick that made them look like creatures from a nightmare. The ship rolled further, and suddenly the deck was nearly vertical. There was no more time for hesitation. I jumped. The fall seemed to last forever, though it couldn't have been more than a few seconds. Then I hit the water hard, the impact driving the breath from my lungs and sending a shock through my entire body. The water was warm, warmer than I'd expected, but the fuel oil made it thick and viscous, clinging to my skin and clothes like tar. I surfaced, gasping for air and immediately tasting the bitter petroleum that coated everything. The life jacket had done its job, keeping me afloat, but the oil made swimming nearly impossible. All around me, other survivors were struggling in the same black morass, calling out names, looking for friends and shipmates. Behind us, the Indianapolis was in her death throes. The great ship was rolling over completely now, her massive propellers rising into the night air. For a moment she hung there, suspended between sea and sky, and I could see men still jumping from her upturned hull. Then, with a sound like thunder, she began her final plunge. The suction was tremendous. Men who had thought they were safely clear suddenly found themselves being dragged down by the dying ship. I swam as hard as I could away from the hull, fighting against the oil-thickened water and the inexorable pull of 15,000 tons of sinking steel. The Indianapolis went down bow first, her stern rising higher and higher until the entire ship was vertical in the water. For a moment that seemed frozen in time, she hung there like a monument to American naval power. Then she slipped beneath the waves with a deep, rumbling roar that I felt in my bones. 12 minutes. That's all the time we'd had from the first torpedo hit to the final plunge. The pride of the Pacific Fleet was gone, taking with her nearly 300 men who hadn't made it off in time. But for those of us in the water, the nightmare was just beginning. I found myself part of a group of about 40 Marines and sailors, all of us clinging to pieces of debris or struggling to stay afloat in our life jackets. The fuel oil that coated everything made it impossible to see who was who in the darkness, but I could hear familiar voices calling out. "Carilla, you okay?" I shouted into the night. "I'm here," came the reply from somewhere to my left. "Minor's here too." As dawn broke on July 30th, the full scope of our situation became clear. We were scattered across miles of ocean in small groups, with no lifeboats, limited supplies, and no way to signal for help. The Indianapolis had been traveling alone under radio silence as part of her secret mission. No one knew we were overdue yet, and it might be days before anyone realized what had happened. The first day wasn't too bad. We were still in shock, still hoping for quick rescue. Some of the men had managed to grab supplies as they abandoned ship, a few life rings, some emergency rations, a little fresh water. We organized ourselves as best we could, with the senior petty officers and NCOs taking charge of the various groups scattered across the debris field. Captain McVay had survived the sinking and was with one of the larger groups. Even in the water, coated with oil and exhausted from the ordeal, He maintained his command presence, encouraging the men and trying to keep spirits up. But I could see the weight of responsibility crushing him. Nearly 200 of his crew were already dead, and the rest of us were depending on his leadership to survive. The sun rose hot and merciless over the Philippine Sea. The fuel oil that coated all of us provided some protection from the burning rays, but it also trapped heat against our skin. By midday, men were already showing signs of exposure and dehydration. The salt water, mixed with oil, was taking its toll on everyone. "Stay close together," Sergeant Minor instructed our group. "Don't drift apart. And whatever you do, don't drink the seawater." It seemed like obvious advice at the time, but as the hours passed and our throats grew parched, that warning would become increasingly important. The first shark appeared on the afternoon of the first day. I saw its fin cutting through the oil-slicked water about 50 yards away, making lazy circles around our group. At first, it seemed almost curious rather than threatening, just another sea creature investigating the strange debris field that had appeared in its domain. "Shark," someone called out, and immediately the mood of the group changed. Men began clustering closer together, those on the outside of our loose formation swimming toward the center. "Stay calm," ordered Petty Officer First Class Clarence Bray, a veteran sailor from Tennessee who had taken charge of our group. "Don't splash around. Just keep still and quiet." The shark made a few more passes, then disappeared. We waited in tense silence for several minutes before allowing ourselves to believe it was gone. But I noticed that after that first sighting, men began looking over their shoulders constantly, searching the water for the telltale fin that meant death. As the sun set on our first day in the water, we tried to take stock of our situation. Of the 1,196 men who had been aboard the Indianapolis when she was torpedoed, we estimated that maybe 800 or 900 had made it off the ship alive. But we were scattered across miles of ocean in groups of 20 to 50 men each, with no way to communicate between groups and no supplies to speak of. The night brought different terrors. Without the sun's heat, the water felt cold despite its tropical temperature. Men began shivering uncontrollably, and some started showing signs of hypothermia. Worse, the darkness seemed to embolden the sharks that had been circling during the day. I dozed fitfully, trying to conserve energy while remaining alert for danger. Every splash, every bump in the water could mean death. Around me, other men were doing the same, caught in that exhausted state between waking and sleeping that left us vulnerable, but was the only rest we could get. Dawn of the second day, July 31st, brought no relief. If anything, our situation was worse. Several men in our group were showing serious signs of saltwater poisoning. They'd given in to temptation during the night and drunk seawater, which only accelerated their dehydration. Others were developing severe sunburn and heat stroke despite the coating of fuel oil. "We need to stay positive," Petty Officer Bray told us as we clustered together in the morning light. "Search planes will be looking for us. The Navy knows our route and our schedule. They'll find us." But I could hear the doubt in his voice, and I'm sure others could too. We all knew that the Indianapolis had been under radio silence orders. How long would it be before anyone realized we were missing? The sharks were more aggressive on the second day. What had been lone scouts the day before now seemed to be organized packs, circling our groups with increasing boldness. Several times, sharks bumped against men hanging in the water, testing them, and we had to fight them off with pieces of debris and our bare hands. It was during one of these attacks that we lost Corporal Jimmy Duncan from Omaha. He was hanging on the outside of our group when a large tiger shark, probably 8 feet long, came up from below and grabbed his leg. Duncan screamed, a sound I'll never forget, and tried to fight the shark off, but it was no use. The water around him turned red, and then both he and the shark disappeared beneath the surface. The psychological impact was devastating. Duncan had been one of the strongest swimmers among us, a tough kid who'd fought on Saipan and Iwo Jima. If the sharks could take him, They could take any of us. Tighten up, Sergeant Minor ordered. Nobody swims alone. Stay in the center of the group. But even as we followed orders, I could see the fear in every man's eyes. We were no longer sailors and Marines waiting for rescue. We were prey, floating helpless in a predator's domain. By the third day, August 1st, men were beginning to break down mentally as well as physically. The combination of exposure, dehydration, and constant fear was taking its toll. Some began hallucinating, seeing islands that weren't there or imagining rescue ships on the horizon. Others became violent, fighting over non-existent supplies or accusing their shipmates of hoarding water. Corporal Harrell was holding up better than most, but even he was showing signs of strain. His lips were cracked and bleeding from the sun and salt water, and his voice had become a hoarse whisper. "You think they're looking for us?" he asked as we floated together, trying to stay close for mutual protection. "They have to be," I replied, though I was no longer sure I believed it myself. Captain McVay filed a flight plan. When we don't show up at Leyte, they'll send search planes. But even as I said the words, I wondered if anyone would think to look for us here, hundreds of miles from our intended route. The Indianapolis had been diverted to several different courses during her secret mission. How would searchers know where to look? The sharks seemed to sense our weakness. They were bolder now, coming right up to the groups and bumping against men almost casually. Several more sailors had been taken during the night, and the blood in the water was attracting even more predators. It was on the fourth day, August 2nd, that I truly began to lose hope. We'd been in the water for over 72 hours now, and our numbers were dwindling rapidly. Of the 40-some men who had been in our group initially, fewer than 20 remained. Some had died from exposure or dehydration, others had been taken by sharks, and still others had simply drifted away during the night, too weak to swim back to the group. The fuel oil that had initially protected us from the sun was wearing off, and those of us who remained were suffering from severe sunburn. My skin felt like it was on fire, and every movement sent waves of pain through my body. Several men had developed such severe saltwater ulcers that they could barely move. But it was the mental breakdown that was hardest to watch. Sailors who had been steady under fire in combat were now raving about ice cream parlors and freshwater fountains. Some tried to swim away, convinced they could see land or rescue ships. We had to physically restrain several men to keep them from swimming off to their deaths. Petty Officer Bray had taken on the heartbreaking duty of trying to keep us organized and focused. Despite his own obvious suffering, he continued to encourage us, organize our meager resources, and maintain some semblance of military discipline. "Listen up," he told us on the morning of the fourth day, his voice barely audible. "We're going to make it through this. The Navy doesn't abandon its own. They're looking for us, and they're going to find us. We just have to hold on a little longer." But as I looked around at the pitiful remnant of our group, sunburned, oil-soaked, half-mad with thirst, I wondered how much longer we could possibly hold on. It was mid-morning on August 2nd when Corporal Harrell spotted the plane. "Aircraft," he croaked, pointing toward the northern horizon with a shaking hand. "There. Do you see it?" At first, I thought it was another hallucination. We'd had dozens of false alarms over the past few days, men seeing things that weren't there, crying out about rescue planes that existed only in their sun-addled minds. But then I saw it too, a small speck against the blue sky, too regular in its movement to be a bird. "It's a plane," I shouted, my voice cracking with excitement and hope. "It's really a plane." The aircraft was still several miles away, but it seemed to be flying a search pattern, making systematic sweeps across the ocean. For the first time in 4 days, I felt something other than despair. "Signal," ordered Petty Officer Bray. Everybody splash. Make noise. Wave anything you've got. We thrashed in the water like madmen, spending our carefully hoarded energy in one desperate attempt to attract attention. Several men had managed to hold on to pieces of reflective metal from the ship, and they angled these toward the sun, trying to flash signals at the distant aircraft. The plane seemed to be getting closer, but it was following a search pattern that might take it right past us. As it approached, I could make out its silhouette, a PV-1 Ventura, a twin-engine patrol bomber used for maritime reconnaissance. "Come on," I whispered, watching the planes approach. "Come on, see us. Please see us." The Ventura was perhaps 2 miles away when its flight path changed. Instead of continuing its search pattern, it banked toward our position. Even at that distance, I could see the pilot waggling his wings, Universal Aviation's signal for message received. Lieutenant Commander Wilbur Gwynn, piloting the Ventura on a routine patrol mission, had spotted our oil slick and the small cluster of survivors floating in it. He immediately radioed our position and began dropping emergency supplies and life rafts. The first supply drop hit the water about 100 yards away, emergency rations, fresh water, and medical supplies packed in waterproof containers. Several of the stronger swimmers in our group immediately struck out for the supplies, their desperation giving them strength they didn't know they still had. But the most important thing the plane brought us wasn't supplies, it was hope. After 4 days of hell, someone finally knew where we were. Rescue was coming. Within hours of Gwynn's sighting, the sea around us was alive with activity. The destroyer USS Cecil Doyle was the first ship to arrive, racing toward our position at flank speed. As she approached, her searchlights swept across the water, revealing the scattered groups of survivors floating in the debris field. I'll never forget the sight of that destroyer coming toward us, her bow cutting through the swells and her crew manning the rails to help pull us from the water. After 4 days of floating in an endless expanse of ocean, seeing that gray hull approaching felt like witnessing a miracle. The rescue itself was almost as dramatic as the ordeal we just endured. Many of us were so weak that we couldn't climb the cargo nets lowered from the ship's sides. Sailors had to jump into the shark-infested water to help lift us to safety, an act of courage that I've never forgotten. As I was pulled up onto the Doyle's deck, I collapsed immediately. My legs wouldn't support me after 4 days in the water, and I was suffering from severe dehydration and exposure. A Navy corpsman immediately began working on me, giving me fresh water and treating my burns and cuts. "Easy, Marine," he said in a gentle voice. "You're safe now. You're going to be okay." I tried to speak, to tell him about the men we'd lost, about Corporal Duncan and the others who hadn't made it, but all that came out was a croak. The corpsman understood, though. He'd been pulling survivors from the water all afternoon, and he'd heard the stories. As I lay on the destroyer's deck, wrapped in blankets and slowly sipping fresh water, I watched as more survivors were brought aboard. Each rescue was a miracle, but I also couldn't help but think about how many weren't coming aboard, how many had been claimed by the sea, the sharks, or simple exhaustion. Of the nearly 1,200 men who had sailed aboard the Indianapolis, only 316 survived. Almost 900 good sailors and Marines had perished, some in the initial attack, but most during those terrible 4 days in the water. It was one of the worst maritime disasters in U.S. Navy history. The aftermath was almost as traumatic as the ordeal itself. Captain McVay, who had survived the sinking and the days in the water, was court-martialed for failing to zigzag and for not ordering abandoned ship quickly enough. It was a controversial decision that many of us survivors felt was unfair. McVay had done everything he could to save his ship and crew. The captain never recovered from the weight of responsibility carried. Years later, he would take his own life, another casualty of that terrible night in July 1945. As for the rest of us, we carried our own burdens. Survivor's guilt is a heavy load, wondering why you lived when so many good men died, replaying every decision and wondering if you could have done more to help your shipmates. Some of us handled it better than others, but none of us escaped unchanged. The Indianapolis tragedy remained classified for years after the war. The ship's secret mission, delivering components for the atomic bomb that would end the war just days later, was too sensitive to reveal. We survivors were told not to discuss what had happened, and many of the families of the dead were never told the full story of how their sons, fathers, and brothers had died. It wasn't until decades later that the full story became public, and even then, many of the details remained shrouded in secrecy and controversy. Questions were raised about why it took so long for anyone to realize the Indianapolis was missing, about whether the ship should have been traveling alone, and about the fairness of Captain McVay's court-martial. But for those of us who lived through it, the questions that mattered most were simpler and more personal. Why did I survive when so many others didn't? What was the point of all that suffering? How do you go on living with the memories of friends dying in your arms? I found my answers eventually. I married my high school sweetheart when I got home to Kentucky, raised a family, and lived a good life. But not a day went by that I didn't think about those 4 days in July 1945, floating in the Philippine Sea with the sharks circling below and the sun beating down from above. The Indianapolis and her crew paid the ultimate price for victory in the Pacific. We delivered the weapon that ended the war, but the cost was nearly 1,000 American lives. Was it worth it? That's a question each person has to answer for themselves. All I know is that a lot of good men died so that the war could end and others could go home to their families. Every July 30th, I think about Corporal Duncan, Petty Officer Bray, and all the others who didn't make it home. I think about Captain McVay, carrying the weight of command even as his ship died beneath him. And I think about the Indianapolis herself, that proud ship that carried us through so many battles, only to meet her end on a secret mission in the darkness of a Pacific night. The sea gave up some of its dead that August, but it kept most of them. Somewhere in the depths of the Philippine Sea, nearly 600 American sailors and Marines still rest with their ship, forever young, forever brave, forever a part of the price we paid for victory. I was 19 years old when I went into the water that night. When I came out 4 days later, I was something else entirely, a survivor, scarred by experience, but alive to tell the story. It's a story I've told countless times over the years, to my children, my grandchildren, to historians and writers who want to understand what happened. But the story isn't really mine. It belongs to all of us who served aboard the Indianapolis, living and dead. It's a story of courage and sacrifice, of brotherhood and loss, of the terrible price of war and the strength of the human spirit. It's a story that needs to be told, not just to honor those who died, but to remind us all of what freedom costs and why it's worth defending. The Indianapolis is gone, along with most of her crew, but their sacrifice lives on, written in the history of a war that defined a generation and shaped the world we live in today. They gave their lives so that others might live free, and that is a gift that can never be repaid, only remembered, honored, and passed down to those who come after. When people ask me about those 4 days in the water, I tell them this: war ishal, but the men I served with were the finest I've ever known. They faced death with courage, helped their shipmates even when they could barely help themselves, and died with honor and service to their country. That's the story of the USS Indianapolis, not just a tale of disaster and survival, but a testament to the character of the men who served aboard her and the price they paid for victory in the Pacific. It's a story written in salt water and blood, in courage and sacrifice, in the bonds of brotherhood that death itself cannot break. We who survived carry their memory forward, making sure their sacrifice is never forgotten and their story continues to be told. It's the least we can do for shipmates who gave their lives so that we and the rest of America could come home.